Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a very enjoyable disc of some historical quasi-significance. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, from little acorns, mighty oak trees grow. The little acorns in this case are the Sinfonias by Alessandro Stradella. Now, Stradella was, he lived from, 1639 to 1682, so he didn't live that long. But he was well known to composers like Handel, who filched some of his music for Israel and Egypt. And that was really the only reason anyone ever talked about Stradella, because Handel thought enough of him to borrow from him. And he actually, apparently, according to the notes here, he was like a flaming genius. The jury's still out on that. But the bottom line is that there are here 11 sinfonias. Now, a sinfonia at that period would be something that introduces a large vocal work, like an oratorio or an opera or an oratorio, or a cantata or something like that. And that may be what these were for. Apparently, Stradella was in demand for his instrumental music, and instrumental music was in its absolute infancy. I mean, these are infancies. These are little acorns, sinfonias. They're written for two violins and continuo, or there are a couple duet ones for violoncello and continuo. They're very well performed here by the Ensemble Arte Musica under Frencesco Cera. I love the fact that these people get to have these very imposing sounding names. Ensemble Arte Musica. There's only 4 people in this group. There's 2 violinists, a cellist, and Cera, who plays organ and harpsichord continuo. That's the Ensemble Arte Musica. I mean, why don't they just call themselves, the Stradella Quartet, and then you're in business. Anyway, these are charming works. They consist of, anywhere from 1 to 5 movements. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's one. I guess so. Okay. Yeah. And, the movements are in sort of the standard slow, fast, or slow, allegro, fast, slow, fast order, as would soon to be the symphony that we know and love. These are mostly 4-movement works. So one of them is 1 movement. And like I said, one of them is in 5 movements. And they're very affecting. I mean, they're tuneful and contrapuntal quite often. There are fugues and things interspersed with them. They don't contain obvious dance music, at least called dances. And they also are very close in shape to the emergent Baroque trio sonata, which is a very similar concept here. But the fact that they're called sinfonia, that kind of means something, doesn't it? Because the Sinfonia, the Italian Sinfonia, is what gave birth to the symphony that we know and love. And it was originally an Italian invention. And Stradella was one of the composers who was participating in the gradual evolution of instrumental music. But as I said, the forms here are fairly basic. They're either contrapuntal or very, very simply lyrical or simple binary forms. Nothing is longer than about 2 minutes. The longest movement here is about, we have 2 minutes and 32 seconds. There's 2 minutes and 59 seconds for an adagio in the 5-movement one. It's the central movement. And the single movement, Sinfonia number 2, is 6 minutes long. But it's in multiple sections, and it's a duet for violoncello and continuo. So there's a lot of variety within these teeny, tiny little forms. And I think it's really kind of fascinating to hear the evolution of things which would become massive, huge, enormous, long, big, tremendous pieces of abstract instrumental music, all originating from these little Baroque sniglets. And these are good sniglets. I mean, there are dull sniglets and crappy sniglets and interesting, affecting sniglets. And these are charming. They're really charming. They're well recorded, and the period instruments are played warmly and enjoyably and lyrically. The harpsichord doesn't make you insane. I mean, it's very sensitive performances from the Ensemble Arte Musica under Francesco Cera. But wow, this is going to be a discovery. For those of you who want to hear how the music that we know and love sort of originated and where it came from, these are fascinating releases because it was such a simple, basic thing that later grew into this enormously rich, emotionally complex musical language. But in those days, it was just beginning. And you can hear it. You can hear the beginning. I mean, it's really kind of cool. There's so many historical things where you really don't know where things started. But yes, we do know where these things started. It's just a question of performing them so that we could all hear it and enjoy it. And here you can. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you for joining me. Take care.